All right, welcome to Raising Funds for World Domination, day number 217. So there is, for the daily update, there's no updates on the supposed appeal. No official case numbers or anything. And I guess there's no point in talking about the Merchant Center thing again. So that's, I guess I can just ask people to go to the Shopify Store. So there you go. If you want to sponsor your very own block type, dedicated block type, just the U, in the block mining simulation game, visit shopify.robertelder.org. And on the videos front, I have one video in the queue that I'll release in a couple of weeks. And in the meantime, I'm working on another video. I worked on some scripting today. That one will also take a bit of time to put together, so hopefully by the time the next video is released, then the next video will be done. Otherwise, we will continue with what we do every day, which is work on the terminal block mining simulation game. So last night I made some changes. I continued making some changes to generalize how the player position is stored in the database. So the eventual goal will be to make it so that you can actually navigate around, like on the map area, in the higher dimensions. So last night I just quickly added another coordinate here. So what you're seeing is at the X and Z plane here. And then you do spacebar or X key, you're moving the Y coordinate. But we'll also make it possible to navigate in the W direction, because that will allow me to browse other things. Like where I'm eventually going to put all the internal data structures and stuff for the game. Let's see. So that's us getting it to load. I guess one block out in either direction, in the W direction, -1 to 1. And I think why I'm not able to navigate there right now is because I think they're uninitialized blocks. So I'm going to have to add a special case for that. There are no chatters yet. Chat rate is 1, but there's no chats. What gives? Are they not showing up? Oh, there it goes. Maybe it's just lagging a bit. Solopreneur Nightmares. How's it going? Thanksgiving in US. People probably with family. They're traveling. I guess that makes sense. Yeah, maybe more mobile viewers. People. Because on mobile, people are not as likely to chat. Our Thanksgiving is a different day. I forget when. It's, I think October, if I remember correctly. Sounds like it's not tradition to get for family to get together for Canadian Thanksgiving. It is. Although I don't know, I've been the older I get, the more I get further away from many kind of simple traditions. The world has changed a lot. Traditions that used to exist no longer exist. I think even stuff like Halloween is getting, it's not quite what it used to be. So, what I'm trying to figure out here is the right way to initialize. Well, I don't actually want to initialize stuff, but I want it when it loads into memory. I wanted to just add empty blocks for the W direction. Traditions revolve around smartphones now. Yeah, I guess. I don't know if you can call that a tradition, though. But people are indeed on their phones all the time. get a super chat. Why I'm muted? Both my surgically removed Balmy 24 in Curitiba, Brazil. Happy Gringo Turkey Day. Wow, well, there's a lot going on in that message. Thank you for the $5. You said you're muted. Do you mean your chats are not getting through? There's like a, on the side, there's like a live view and a, I'll check the chat and see, actually maybe people were getting moderated a lot tonight or something. Oh yeah, I guess you probably were getting auto moderated. There's a thing at the top to switch from live chat and like the live chat and top chat. I guess, I don't know, maybe some deep string parsing didn't like something in your message. But yeah, if that's what you want, then I'm glad things are working out for you. And then it's plus 24 in Curitiba, Brazil. Happy Gringo Turkey Day. We have Thanksgiving a different time of year. I actually forget when Thanksgiving is here. It was a couple of months ago, I think. But yeah, I usually just leave it on like the auto mod. But if something you're saying is not getting through, just keep spamming it, and then eventually one of your messages will get through. Bronsham. Hi, Rookie here. Rookie at programming, or? Now, I guess what I need, if I start doing more higher dimensional stuff, something to like a wild card where I can say if the coordinate is like I don't know, has a certain number of zero variables in it. What are we doing here? This is development of my terminal-based video game, which I'll get it running here. and I'll show you a demo. So this is the terminal-based block mining game. It's a video game that runs exclusively in the terminal, where you wander around an infinite procedurally generated universe, and you spam the M key to mine blocks. And there's blocks of iron ore and stuff. If we can find some. And you can also craft things too. You go over here, press the C key to craft a better pickaxe. There's some iron ore. So yeah, that's the development. And right now, I'm working on generalizing some stuff so that you can navigate around in other higher dimensions. Please, Navidad. Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you. Is it something game dev? Yeah, I guess it's game dev, although I don't really consider myself a game developer. More of just a general software developer. I guess that's probably fine for now. It'd be better if this worked more generally for like higher dimensions. I'll probably just stick with 4 for now. What is this? This is terminal-based video game development. Actually, I just explained that guy, so if you want, you can skip back a couple minutes, and that'll give you the intro. I guess what I can probably do is just do something similar here. So when I load, instead of loading it in as uninitialized, I'll just load it as empty block. That might do what I want. Oh, wait. Just finished some Thanksgiving night bash scripting work. Taking advantage of the quiet day off. Nice. Is that for some work stuff or personal stuff? So that didn't fix the movement. Gal_co, you were here the other night and you were typing things in languages that are not English. You gotta speak English here. Otherwise, I can't moderate. Work. Automating the install of an app. Nice. That's what Bash was built for. Thanks. That's more like it. Could be done with a simple one-liner, putting in the work for error handling and logging. Yeah, the error handling and logging is that's a lot of the work. But it's so great when stuff fails, and then the log just tells you exactly what the problem is, as opposed to just like silently failing. Hey, all goes. Or XD says hi. How's it going? Wait, let's run that again. What is this for? This is terminal-based video game development. The room's rather dark. Has the light gone out? No, it's aesthetics. I got the. I guess I could. It's a little bit brighter. Okay, movement into the W direction still doesn't work because a block at that location has class uninitialized block. That's exactly what it's not supposed to have. So I thought I'd just fix that. Oh, actually, that's probably the wrong place for this. Maybe I want this. Now will this work? Oh, look at that. Interesting, it'll go down. So the map's not updating, which that makes sense actually, because of some other reasons. Interesting, that actually seems to make it a lot slower. It's probably because I think the chunks have to actually be bigger to accommodate that extra dimension, which makes sense. So now that I'm in W-1, I can move through stuff, because actually what's on the screen is not accurate. The 3D circular buffer is checking to see what the translation was just for the first 3 coordinates. Okay, everything makes sense except for why I can only go down to -1 and 1. Block of that location is not loaded by client yet. We don't know what's there. So that means it's not updating correctly. Oh yeah, there was another function in here. This one. This needs to be generalized. Because it doesn't consider updates. Updates past the Z dimension. Hey Robert, your tutorial of how to make a CPU really helps. Excellent. I'm glad. It was a lot of work to make it. It was a lot of work to find all the original ingredients for making CPUs. But now I'm happy that everyone out there can just make their own CPUs. All right, that seems to work. No bugs so far. A little hard to find the ingredients, but still got it done. Excellent. Yeah, it's a lot of work to purify silicon to such high purity concentrations. Intel 8086 is said to be the simplest. No, I meant just a boring calculator. I'm stuck on making the control unit. There's got to be some designs online that you can download. It's like the RISC-V architecture. You could probably just copy and paste that. Crank out one of those. I want to make a database from scratch. Know any resources I can find, but how they are made. Debating whether to do it in C or Rust. So the foundational works about databases are like, you can look up, I think it's Boyce Cod. I think that might be like a pair of names, or maybe it's one name of, do a Google search for relational algebra and relational calculus. Yeah, relational algebra and relational calculus. That was, there were some like famous papers that were made. You can research and look up those papers that were made upon which Larry Ellison based the Oracle database, and then built like a database for the CIA, and then got incredibly rich. So that's some of the basic theory of like databases. There's a lot to think about in writing a database that's like actually performant. Then of course, you also have to have a good compiler, like a parser and a compiler for understanding the query language, because it's basically, you want to model it as like a context-free language to actually parse the queries. So it depends how much you want to build from scratch. I mean, if you want to build like something comparable to Postgres or like an actual production database, it'll take you insane amounts of time. So you'll probably only be able to, like, as a hobby project, get away with building a subset of it, which might just be like, the query. There's the parsing of the query. There's the query planning, which is a whole complicated topic. Then there's the relational algebra, relational calculus. And then there's all the operating system stuff, like synchronizing of data, avoiding things like write amplification. That's a really big issue in databases. Usually just use CSV. Yeah, I'd say like, it depends what you want to do. You probably don't want to make a database from scratch. I guess you said database, whether you mean like database engine. I guess I answered that question. If you just wanted like a database, a file is a database in some respects. Robert, what are your thoughts on front-end web dev development? Why aren't you interested in this? From what I see, there are tons of jobs. One issue with front end is that it's changing so much. Like, it's just a never-ending conveyor belt of new frameworks and stuff like that. That might be slowing down now. I don't know. But back when I was doing front-end dev for money, like, you'd waste all this time learning a new framework, and then it would be completely out of date, and no one would be using it anymore, and they expect you to know all these other frameworks. Bhuvan Manjuantha. Hey again. How's it going? Just a simple database, closer to SQLite. Is just using SQLite an option? Because ideally you wanna just use what exists. Web development never changed. Now your front end is almost dead. Everyone does full stack now. I thought, never touch web dev. It was it made sense for there to be a lot of hype around it because it was kind of the it was the fastest place to iterate. Like the way venture capital investment money will go where you can produce, like, have the tightest like feedback cycle. But I think a lot of the innovation has been squeezed out of like new SaaS apps and stuff like that. And nowadays with AI, I think a lot of the like low-hanging fruit stuff is very, very much gone. Like any just app, you know, in having an interface to something, or even like data visualizations. Like you can take data and throw it into an AI and say graph this, and it'll actually do a pretty good job now. Even though it's like probably you're still making mistakes, but the mistakes are so rare that like nobody really cares now. Just for learning purposes. I guess it depends what you actually want to write from scratch. You could probably just look at the source code for SQLite and get some ideas on like what you want to practice, or even just study the source code of it. Because there's so many very different individual things. Like I said, the compiler, the parser. That's completely different from, like, theoretically speaking, from relational calculus and algebra. Andrew would look on resume, got grilled on interviews for not building a useful tool. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. I honestly, I don't even know what to advise people these days. A lot of people who interview you are also just like other egomaniac developers that they're looking for they're all looking for some very different specific thing. Recruiters won't understand anything anyway. Yeah, you may invest a ton of time in something and then find out that the recruiter like just picks your resume because you had the right keyword, HTML or something in there. Recruiters won't be impressed by it, but if you can actually, you know, your outcome will depend very much on who is interviewing you. It's probably different. Like what the most likely interviewer you would get is going to be different if you're applying to like a big mature company like Amazon or something versus a startup. In a startup, I think you might be able to impress people more by like a kind of broader, like, you know, like an impressive technical project. Especially if they're like a technical founder, they're already interested in technology. That's why they're building their business. But if you're just going to like work at Amazon or Microsoft or something, you're more of like a cog in a machine. How are tech plants going to be selected in your utopia? Is it going to be likable college dropouts, or are we going to end up with Zuckerbergs and Elons? Tech plants. You mean like some sort of that implies some sort of like I don't know, some sort of collusion. Zuckerberg's and Elon's. I don't know. I think I don't know if Zuckerberg and Elon are necessarily in the same category. Maybe less of the Zuckerbergs and more Elons. I think we could have honestly the the best model would be a set of rules and laws that apply equally to everyone in like a fair society, so that way people can be judged on the merits of their behavior, so that way you don't have to make a distinction. Front organization representatives. I don't know. I guess ideally you wouldn't need to have front organizations. You could just have honesty, because honesty is the best policy. Can I simplify this into a loop? That would be ideal. Do you like lambdas? They are good sometimes. I think the best example of a lambda is when you have like a sorting function with a custom comparator but I don't really use Lambda functions very much. I assume that's what you meant by lambdas. Question about loop reminded me of list processing a little. Yeah, I think I have maybe it's been a while since I think I've refactored this code many times. A lot of times I do like just kind of a series of like pigeonhole optimizations to just make things simpler over time, and then when I sit back and look at it, I'm like, wait a minute, this whole thing collapses down into something super simple. So maybe what I can do, I think, is the following. Okay, does that work? So that would simplify the X direction, and then I think the other ones I can make them basically the same. Okay, that's doing it. Now, can I use that same pattern with Y? And maybe that -1 is not necessary either. Let's make that 1. Been thinking about the geographic resources of the melting permafrost in northeastern Northern Territories, and how they can be used as high nutrient and gas-rich feedstock for our civilization. There is a lot of methane being emitted by those areas. I mean, technically there's a lot of resources everywhere, but we just don't really use them efficiently. And then when we do, we just build awful mines and stuff with poor practices and leave gas wells open. They'll start a company and drill for some oil, and then they'll promise to clean it up, and then instead of cleaning it up, they just go bankrupt. And I mean, even just building the infrastructure to take advantage of that stuff. I haven't really kept up with it, but we've had talks about we're going to build a pipeline here in Canada. And they just argue about building a pipeline since the 80s. And if we just built it and agreed to build it and then used it, we could have energy. We would have the money to actually build sustainable climate solutions and stuff. But instead we don't do that. Somebody anonymous says, friendly greetings. Hello and/or goodbye. Hello and/or goodbye back to you. See what happens if I do this. Actually, let's try it. I think I know what it'll do. That makes sense because the upper now points to 1 after. The explanation I've heard is our continent is being reserved for future attrition of energy. Meanwhile, the geopolitics of energy and water is useful for controlling power. Yeah, that sounds like something that probably is happening. Our continent is being reserved for future attrition of energy. The question, though, is who is reserving it? Doesn't it belong to us, the people? Or does it belong to one person? Kind of makes sense why that doesn't work, but I've got it off by one somewhere. All right, let's try that again. All right, it properly scrolls in that direction, the X direction. Now for going down, it does not. Okay, that works. All right, I'll just try to refactor this in bits so we don't get carried away, make errors. All right, we got scrolling up, scrolling down. Oh, that's not good. Oh, it's totally broken. What happened? Cybernetic Logos says hello. How's it going? Man, that doesn't make any sense why that is broken now. Let me run that again. I think I'm going to make a Linux distro that is also an MMO. Nice. The computing as desktop is gone. Computing as MMO is here. Open protocols. That'll be a lot of work though. Everything hackable? Just like Temple OS. Wow, now it's really messed up. Very strange. This works in the other directions. Except Terry Davis hated networking. Yeah, I think some people added networking to Temple OS afterward, though. Context switching rate of that OS was remarkable. Yeah, I didn't look at it very extensively, but I do remember thinking, like, taking a look at the context switch. That was one of the things I looked for. I was like, how, like, is this operating system any good? What is, because I think how clean the context switch works is an indication of, like, you know, the organizational skills of whoever made it and like how well they understand what they're doing. And for someone with such a disorganized mind, it was a remarkably well organized context switch function. It was fairly small. Gas station made my food. And DoorDasher is driving it here. Gas station made the food? I don't know. You can have bad luck with gas station food. Don't have any sushi from the gas station. Now, if only I can figure out why this doesn't work. That's crazy. Oh man, I was hoping to finish this tonight. I walked to the store for Thanksgiving. Hot dogs. But all they had was junk food and vodka. Well, that's close enough. I guess you might want to pace yourself, though. You don't want to get a stomach ache. Man, this drives me nuts. Okay. I give in. Let me just revert this. It goes step by step. Up works, down works, right, left, up for Y. Okay, that's all working. That works. Let's verify that this works. Right, left, down, and up. Now it said it should be identical. Now, does this work? Right, up, and down. All right, that all works. Now, I think that's basically the same thing that didn't work before, but we'll see if it magically works this time. Nope, it doesn't. It's the exact same bug. That's crazy. What's going on? Oh, it must be triggering a change in both. My wife just divorced me and took the kids. I can't take it anymore. I would advise go for a walk for 4 hours somewhere through the city, and then at the end of the walk, go to like a donut store and then get a coffee and a donut. So we need to figure out a way to allow this to do change to multiple coordinate positions at once. Coffee and a donut. Yep. But make sure you walk until you're like exhausted and sore. Day 7 of training my dog with a robot. Oh, we got thank you very much for the $10 from James Goodrich. New gratitude deliver. If this makes sense, I didn't try hard enough. Excellent. Thank you very much. After 20 years of taking care of children and pets, I've been completely alone now. It's rough. He's right. Do you mean about going for a walk and getting a coffee, or? Yeah, I guess if you're taking care of kids for 20 years, you have an empty house. That's probably a big change. This gas station uses waffles as buns on some sandwiches. Well, gas stations are they're not really known for their culinary skills, so they have to innovate. Okay, I think that'll do what I want. You don't know American gas stations? You're right. I don't have that much experience with them. Buc-ee's? Not familiar with them. Talking RTOS, computer architecture, HPC, cooperative and adaptive algorithms, and computer networks. Oh, taking. Wish me luck. RTOS is fun. Yeah, I mean, it's stressful, but if you're in the mindset for it, it's a fun challenge to make your skills better. And then ideally you go through that with like a cohort of people. And then when you graduate, you could be like, remember that time we worked on this project and it was crazy and stressful. I thought it was spelled that restaurant or that gas station chain. I got a barbecue brisket waffle sandwich and a spicy chicken waffle sandwich. That sounds pretty good. Okay, I think this will do what I want. No clue what swarm intelligence and ant colony algorithms are. I don't know what those are either. I never learned about swarm intelligence, ant colony algorithms. I can imagine some kind of algorithm that mimics how ants are supposed to work. Okay, that does what I want. Now let's generalize this even further. right, that's even more generalized. $120 gas pumps, 120 gas pumps, 7,000 square meter building. That's the gas station you're talking about? Wow, I guess I really don't know American gas stations. I've never even heard of that. A gas station with 120 gas pumps. Get some money for that sandwich. You also enjoy McDee's coffee and McMuffin for $2. Wow, that sounds good. And colonies aren't banned, but fungi algorithms. That's where the food's at. It is interesting how, if I remember correctly, for the Tokyo subway system, they used fungi, or like a slime mold. They like modeled it with like food and a slime mold, and then they just saw like where does the slime mold grow. I hope I didn't make that up. There was some kind of optimization problem where they modeled it with slime molds and just saw what path the slime mold took. Took biologically inspired computing and learned about simulations before neural networks in the same class. Have neural networks graduated from RNG yet? I don't classify what most AI even call artificially intelligent. Just a bunch of RNG. I don't classify what most call AI even artificially intelligent. Well, I don't know. I think the large language model stuff is getting pretty good. I don't quite completely follow that conversation on the side there about McMuffins and running off pure spite for a while. I don't know. All I can advise is go for the 4-hour walk. They wanted to see how slime mold would optimize the food delivery, where the food was placed at approximately the current train stations. And the slime mold was pretty good at replicating the current train network the Japanese have in place now. Yeah, I thought it was something to do with the Tokyo subway. I'm glad I didn't totally make that up and spread dangerous misinformation on the internet. Tokyo used slime molds as an augural organism. I don't think I've ever seen that word before. Augural. Romans did similar stuff with birds. There's also Tom Scott has a video about, I think, like clams, river clams being used to test water purity. All right, that's getting more generalized. Oh, nice. I have subtract implemented. So now instead of this, I could just do this. And now it works in arbitrary dimensions. All right, let's check that out. Universities be talking about TSP nonstop. I wish I had someone in my life that said they love as much as profs bring up TSP or TPS. Oh, traveling salesman. Yeah, I guess it's because you, once you describe one NP-complete problem, you describe all of them. All right, that is working. Excellent. All right, that should fully generalize the scrolling, the dragging around of the map frame. The doors keep getting knocks at the door from salespeople. I'd be pissed if I was working solve a math problem. Professors do at home and doorbell ring. That's probably where the name of that problem came from. Some mathematician was trying to solve a graph theory thing, and some annoying salesperson came by. All right, that's totally broken now. Nice. Whether of traveling professors. I don't know, that could be dangerous depending on what the professors are up to. Answer the door and give them beautiful mind rapid conjecture. Like from the movie A Beautiful Mind. If you substitute salesman for professor and have traveling professors, then it's quite evident that it's NP incomplete. I don't know about that. I'm doubtful. All right, that might be fully generalized to work in all dimensions. So now we can go, and now, look at that, we can change the W dimension. Now let's try something. Now we'll do a test where the player starts up in an area of the map where the internal data structures are stored for the inventory and the where the remembered player position is. Look at that. It's not much to look at, but so now I'm actually browsing around where, so right there in that object, the P, I guess there's no inventory because I haven't initialized it yet. We can go down, but it'll take a long time to get there. I need to implement commands, like a teleport command. Well, I think that's it for tonight. I was going to try and end earlier tonight, but it kept going. Os Norman 8050 says, howdy y'all. Keep forgetting to ask, what is your main PC specs? My main PC that I do most stuff on is it's a Lenovo, and I regret getting it because the fan is always at like max speed, and honestly it's one of the slower laptops that I've ever had, and it's also one of the most expensive that I've ever had, so quite disappointed in it. I'd like to get some more better stuff, but a lot of the stuff I have is actually just junk, but gotta raise some more funds and super chats and memberships and nonsense. Would you ever consider building an MMO? I guess I can keep adding stuff to this, and then maybe eventually I could get there, but there's quite a bit of work to do before it gets to that point. Reminds me of old dungeon games like Moria. Yeah, I guess what I'm implementing tonight is kind of the whole premise of this game is everything is stored in blocks, and I'm probably going to make some of the internal data structures of the game also stored in blocks in the same universe. So I'm just adding a kind of wacky extra dimension. I also may use this extra dimension for like testing certain things, like the way it's written to support an arbitrary number of dimensions, so I could store other stuff, like for example pressure and temperature could be stored on another dimension for all the blocks in the map area. I also might use it for testing seed values, so that way I could like go to an area on the map and then scroll up and down the W dimension, and that would move through, that would let me see how the terrain generates as I like increase or decrease a certain variable for the smooth noise generator. But anyway, that's where we'll leave it for tonight. And yeah, I think I implemented what I wanted for this, for being able to browse extra dimensions. There's a whole bunch of things I I may want to do with this in the future. So it kind of basically works now, and also the database is extensible enough to store that and remember player positions that are arbitrarily of an arbitrary number of dimensions. I guess I should probably work more on the generic world connection multiplayer, like local multiplayer, so that way you can actually you can set up 2 split screens and have like 2 different players in the same world interacting. There's actually a few things that need to be done before that happens, even for like local single player multiplayer. Anyway, I'll leave it there, and we'll be back tomorrow night for day 218. All right, have a good night, guys.